When black folks don't embrace what folks are trying to do and fend that off, that upsets me, because I am somebody that's trying to set a path for future folks on the come up from my community to be in this position one day.
Now facing a lawsuit in Miami from his ex, accusing him of battery, kidnapping, false imprisonment, and emotional distress. I mean, this does not look good. And he's had previous with his partner. Hands on women, I just can't agree with. It's just terrible. And it's so bad for boxing when a fighter is being accused of putting, I mean, that's my personal opinion on.
As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring Magazine that December 12th and the 19th are possibilities, right? And here are the potential opponents: Nate Diaz or Francis Ngannou.
Stephen A. Smith strongly criticized Gervonta Davis, saying the boxer ruined his own career through careless behavior and poor decisions outside the ring. Smith stressed that skill means nothing without self-control and respect for boxing. With Davis's future now unclear, Jake Paul is set to face a different opponent instead of Tank Davis. Paul's new rival is expected to be a better fit, someone closer to his weight, style, and popularity level, allowing the fight plans to continue. What do you think, Jake Paul?
I hate it. And Jake Paul's starting to piss me off. Mike Tyson is 57 years old, man. Jake Paul been training with professional boxing trainers for years. He takes the sport very seriously.
Thank you. So let me ask you, that's the question I have, because great kid, great businessman, by the way, amazing kid. I don't know how he does all this, the character and the persona. We keep saying that he doesn't want to be a boxer. He's not a boxer, but then
Jake Paul is a boxer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point.
Exactly. He's a boxer.
He can fight. I respect it. So go in there against fighters. You should be climbing the ladder towards those other fighters and taking the sport seriously to the point where you're fighting actual boxers. Now he decides to fight a fighter, a real fighter, which is Tyson. But Tyson is 30 years older. Stop this nonsense of going against dudes that either ain't boxing or is 25 years removed from the sport.
Inside Ring Show shared an official post on X stating that Gervonta Davis will likely be removed from his November 14th Netflix fight with Jake Paul, with the event now moving to December as a replacement is found. Sources told Ring's Mike Coher that December 12th and 19th are possible new dates. Reports say Andre Ward was asked about his availability, while Nate Diaz and Francis Ngannou are also being considered. This update has sparked major debate among fans about Jake's next opponent. The Wade podcast analyst pointed out that Jake Paul's team cares most about money and public image. They believe Davis's lawsuit could cut pay-per-view sales, as many people won't support a fighter accused of abuse. The analyst added that Jake's team values reputation as much as profit, and this scandal could harm both. The fight was meant to grab mainstream attention through Netflix's reach, but now the focus has shifted completely. Even though boxing often thrives on drama, legal troubles like this tend to push viewers away instead of drawing them in.
Takes these fights very seriously, and I just thought, okay, this is going to get a little more interesting than I previously thought. I thought it would be a bit of a mismatch, a bit of a boxing experience to Gervonta Davis, Jake bringing the size and power, and we're going to get one of these stalemates where no one wants to take a real risk and both guys are going to get paid. Turns out no guy may get paid, or Gervonta Davis might be kicked off the card because we have a new, not champion, a new domestic violence abuse allegation against Gervonta Davis. There's been a lot of allegations against Tank, and some of those have been dropped, that others have not really been pursued, and you don't really know what's what behind the scenes with people. But when things like this happen over and over, I think this is his fourth or maybe fifth allegation of domestic abuse, you kind of start to have to look at the person that's being accused of such and go, why do you keep ending up in these situations? And the way it's described, we've even seen Tank do some of the things already on camera. But let's get into this thing, and then we'll just go right into the report from Chris Mannix here. Shout out Mannix. Obviously, you guys know him as a commentator with DAZN, covers boxing, covers basketball as well for SI. Chris Mannix on Twitter says, Netflix and reps for Jake Paul have been exploring potential replacements for Gervonta Davis. Sources familiar with the situation told SI Now. Paul Davis, scheduled for November 14th, is in limbo after new allegations of domestic violence against Gervonta Davis. I was in the car. I didn't know if this was real, but I had seen a report, and this came out, I think on October, it came out a couple days ago, but it was from October 27th, and there was a civil suit over domestic allegations just 2 weeks ahead of this fight. This is from Andreas Hale, our guy over at ESPN.com. He essentially wrote the article on it and went into details. So let's take a read. Gervonta Tank Davis has once again found himself in legal trouble just 2 weeks before his exhibition fight. And yes, it was going to be an exhibition. I know it was billed as a exhibition with, you know, a winner and loser, but let's be honest about it. Two guys, massively different weights, massively different experience. It was going to be an exhibition. On November 14th, a new civil lawsuit filed in Miami-Dade County has put the WBA lightweight champion in hot water over
Mike Coher, senior insider for Ring Magazine and co-host of Inside Ring Show, posted on X, quoting Chris Mannix, that Jake Paul's return may move to December because the November 14th Netflix bout is in doubt after the latest claims against Gervonta Davis. Sources told Ring that December 12th and 19th are possible, and as Mannix noted, Ryan Garcia and Terrence Crawford were both approached. His post added to reports that Jake's fight could face big changes. Carl Froch didn't hold back when speaking about the uncertainty around Jake's next move. He called the original Davis match a circus, saying it focused more on entertainment than real boxing. Froch argued that Jake should never have accepted the fight since there was little to prove. With Davis now stuck in legal issues, Froch said it's time to move on and find a proper rival. He believes Jake's team is already searching for replacements and that the event can still work with the right name. Froch also criticized how boxing often trades true competition for showbiz, saying this case proves that approach can backfire.
Until proven guilty, they say, right? Regardless of how many times he's been accused of this type of stuff, allegedly or not, it's still innocent until proven guilty. Now, if I have a contract with you, this doesn't involve you. You know, I understand you got a brand and public relations, all this type of stuff, but technically, this doesn't involve you. So you pull my $200 Jake Paul contract. What if I'm innocent over here? You know who I'm coming after? I'm coming after you. I want my fucking money, or I want some compensation. But these big companies, they be having stipulations and little clauses in their contracts that give them the ability to cancel contracts for all different types of. I used to have those in our.
Oscar De La Hoya directly responded to the rumors that Ryan Garcia could replace Gervonta Davis. He confirmed those talks never happened and said if any real discussions were taking place, he would be the one to announce them. De La Hoya made it clear that Garcia is focused on his own plans and fans shouldn't expect a sudden fight with Jake Paul. His response shut down the speculation and reminded everyone that not every rumor deserves attention. Despite fan curiosity, De La Hoya made sure expectations stayed realistic, stating clearly that for now, nothing is happening between Ryan and Jake's camps.
So I wake up to calls from reporters asking me about Jake Paul and Ryan Garcia. Let me just tell you why this fight is not going to happen. Ryan Garcia fights for DAZN, and Jake Paul fights on Netflix. I mean, that's pretty much the bottom line. Golden Boy has a contract with DAZN. Ryan Garcia has a contract with Golden Boy. And that's just the way it is. I mean, this is business. You know, Ryan Garcia's probably going to rant saying, oh, you're keeping me from making money and this and that and fighting. No, you have to go by the law, by the rules. You have a contract with DAZN. You have a contract with Golden Boy. It just doesn't happen that way. So anyway, until next time, we'll see you Saturday for Virgil Ortiz. But again, Ryan Garcia's next fight will be announced by me.
Commentators have noted that
Commentators have pointed out that this isn't Gervonta Davis's first controversy. Earlier this year, he was accused of mistreating the mother of his children, a case that was dropped but still damaged his image. Now, with another ex-girlfriend filing a lawsuit, many believe Davis must take responsibility for his actions. Analysts argued that fame and talent mean nothing if he can't control himself outside the ring. The repeated accusations have raised doubts about his discipline and focus, putting his career at risk. Some even suggested his team should step in to guide him and protect his reputation before his personal issues destroy everything he's achieved.
Whatever happened, the Paul camp still thought Tank is a big enough name regardless of his previous result to go ahead with this bout. But just as they were going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested and it was once again put in doubt. Then the charges were dropped. A week later, they announced the event. So that kind of brings us to today. This event hasn't been smooth sailing so far, and was almost destined that there would end up being a few more bumps in the road before we actually saw the two facing off. And about as big of a bump as you could really get has now hit the promotion. A civil suit has been filed against Tank, in which his ex-girlfriend accuses him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. While it was also reported by ESPN that a report has been filed additionally with the Miami Gardens Police Department last Tuesday. However, as I'm recording this, there's yet to be any criminal charges. Now, these alleged incidents happened last month, which was after the announcement of the fight. You would think if you're Tank on the verge of the biggest payday he's ever gotten, he would be doing anything to stay out of trouble, yet he continues to find himself in negative situations again and again. But in saying all of this, everything at the moment is very much alleged, and I'm not really here to talk about the validity of these claims. What I am here to talk about though is the impact this might have on the boxing event in a couple weeks time. Now, Tank vs Paul, love or hate the idea of it, was definitely one of the most viewed fights of the year. Although there are rumors of there being poor ticket sales, the at-home audience...
Courtney Roselle's lawsuit against Gervonta Davis, filed in Miami-Dade County, paints a troubling story. It accuses him of attacking her at work and includes claims of battery, false imprisonment, and emotional distress. The timing of the suit, coming just weeks before Davis's scheduled fight with Jake Paul, has caused major talk in the boxing world. Some experts question why the case was filed now, suggesting it might have been meant to disrupt his biggest event. Others defend the timing, noting that victims often wait due to fear or pressure. Commentators compared it to cases like Mike Tyson's, saying that fighters' aggression in the ring can sometimes spill into real life. Regardless of motive, the case has cast a dark shadow over what was supposed to be one of the sport's biggest streaming events this year.
Involve the offer. If you're going to involve the laws, given a lawsuit, why not involve the law in general and file like actual charges in addition to this? So again, I'm not her. I don't understand that angle of it, because it's like we want him to be held accountable in front of the public, but there's no criminal charges, which is weird, you know, in a situation like that. At least to me, it seems like you would have criminal charges or some kind of restraining order. Now, I don't know. It's not my case to fight or defend. We have to see what comes. I have mixed feelings about these situations, because on one angle, we do see boxers throughout history who have been involved with like temper issues or anger management issues and DV in domestic situations. We've seen that. And I'm talking about all types of fighters, right? Even the great Mike Tyson, I don't believe the story, but again, I don't want to get too distracted on my opinion, but he did prison time for allegedly to a female, right? So on one angle, we've heard that, but then on the other angle, you got people who sue left and right, and sometimes even females, right? Where people are looking to turn a pretty penny. And what happens is sometimes in these celebrity situations, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I got to see more, you know, it has to go to trial or whatever, see what evidence comes out. Again, this is not really for me to judge. I'm not the judge, the jury. I'm not a cop. So
Michael Bisping voiced his frustration over the idea of Jake Paul fighting Francis Ngannou as a replacement. The former UFC champion said such a fight would be ridiculous because of Ngannou's huge power and size advantage. He explained that, while Jake has improved as a boxer, he's not ready for someone like Ngannou, who could easily overpower him. Instead, Bisping suggested Nate Diaz as a fairer and more exciting option. He believes Diaz offers both fame and competitive balance without turning it into a mismatch. Bisping's comments reflect what many fans think. They want Jake's fights to be thrilling, but still make athletic sense.
Pulled the plug on that fight. It says, here's a tweet I'm reading from Mike Coppinger. As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring Magazine that December 12th and the 19th are possibilities, right? And here are the potential opponents: Nate Diaz or Francis Ngannou. Now listen, we know that Jake Paul has been out there and he's typically taking on people that are way older than him, like Mike Tyson, who's 58, Anderson Silva, who was way past his prime, people like Nate Diaz, who were way smaller. Gervonta Davis really did take the piss.
A panel of analysts discussed whether the lawsuit against Gervonta Davis was genuine or strategically timed. They stressed the importance of solid proof, saying Roselle's claims must be supported by clear evidence to be believable. The lawsuit's timing raised doubts since it aligns almost exactly with Davis's scheduled fight and biggest payday yet. Some warned that people shouldn't rush to judge until the facts are verified. They also noted that while false claims can happen, dismissing them too soon is equally wrong. The panel concluded both legal sides deserve fair review, but the situation has already damaged Davis's public image and complicated how people view him.
Or she got trash-ass lawyers, and he did all of this shit, and they got all the evidence in the world. They're like, yeah, we just gonna ask him $50K. We ain't gonna ask for nothing more than that. Something gotta give, bro. Okay? Something gotta give, fam. So, there's that part of it. And for the Tank Davis side, listen, dog. Whether you did it or not, if that's all it takes to make this shit go away, so you can go on with your life and go on with your career, I'd consider doing it from a business perspective, right? And just saying, look, man, you asked for how much, man? Here go 100. Shut up, issue an apology. You know what I'm saying? Say that I never did that shit. Say it was a misunderstanding, and you can have 100K here. Shit. That's the business side to make this shit go away and keep it moving. But the man in me, right? The pride is the wrong word. The integrity in me says, if you didn't do this shit, fight tooth and nail, and don't give a shit, right? So there's that, right? It's just, again, not saying guilty or innocent. Y'all know when shit like this happen, I like to wait on all the facts to come out. Damn, this shit seeming very, very suspect, bro. Very weird. But now let's get to the potential opponent. So nothing from MVP has came out to say this fight has been canceled. As a matter of fact, they were still promoting the shit yesterday on their socials or whatever. Nothing from Tank's side that said this shit is canceled. Nothing from Netflix saying this is canceled. So for all intents and purposes, these are rumors started by Chris Mannix. So